Hey there, my name's Emily Shenfield. I'm a developer educator on the team here at Twilio, and last week we launched a couple of exciting new things. Twilio Alpha is our new channel from Twilio's emerging technology and innovation team, designed to give access to our early research and development to developers so they can give us feedback and help us create better products. As part of the Twilio Alpha launch, we also debuted Twilio AI Assistants, which is our new platform for building conversational AI assistants with Twilio's data and communications built right in. Last week, we did a live stream where we talked about those products, and we met Rachel Baskin, who's a principal product manager on the emerging tech and innovation team. And she told us a lot about why Alpha and why now. I'm going to throw it back to my past self to meet with Rachel.
What prompted the formation of
Yeah.
Alpha? Thanks.
You got it. So as you've mentioned, and as we all know, there's so much innovation and change happening in technology right now, specifically in the AI and AGI space. And so with Twilio Alpha, we really want to research and investigate how is AI going to impact customer engagement? How is AI going to impact Twilio communications and data products in the long term? So what Twilio Alpha is going to allow us to do is to start publishing and sharing our work early in the process, and really gain, continue our engagement with customers, gain feedback and insights from our developer community really quickly, and also start to position Twilio as a thought leader in the AI space. And so really thinking around this question of like, how is AI and AGI and LLMs going to disrupt customer engagement and be at the forefront of that disruption? And so that's really kind of the formation and why we launched Twilio Alpha.
Awesome. It's so cool to see space for that kind of longer term research to happen because there is so much changing all the time. And especially with this AI, kind of the innovation in AI, I can see how that will be really valuable for us.
Yeah.
Given that, and especially that longer time horizon maybe is a part of this, but what's the difference between projects that you're working on as a part of Twilio Alpha and other Twilio products that we know and love, like programmable messaging and all the hits?
Yeah. I mean, I'll just say like Twilio across the board is innovating with AI. Like you mentioned a few, but like Flex Agent Copilot, voice intelligence, segment predictions, like we are not the only team at Twilio investigating AI and AGI. So like, I just want to start there. I would say the main difference, and I've talked about this a little bit, is like we're looking at a much longer time horizon. So we're thinking 5 to 10 years down the line, how is this technology really going to transform the customer engagement space? And then, like I mentioned before, being able to share at a faster pace, right? A lot of our traditional R&D teams are working through, public betas and then general availability. We're really thinking much earlier than that. We're thinking pizza box sketches, prototype, developer preview, where we might not have all of the experiences fully fledged out, but the ability to share earlier will allow us to get more feedback and figure out like, okay, are we hitting a good use case? Are we driving, what customers need, or are we missing the mark? We need to like look somewhere else. So I think really the time horizon, thinking much farther down, as well as how we're sharing and launching really early. But everyone's innovating, right? Everyone at Twilio is innovating. And so I think there's amazing things happening across the company, and Twilio Alpha just is one research arm that's really focused on long-term disruption.
Awesome. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And I've seen, and I hope you all viewers are able to check out some of those products that Rachel mentioned, like voice intelligence is a really cool kind of voice AI product that we have already on our platform that integrates AI into your voice conversations and is a really interesting thing to check out. I recommend that. There's a ton of other things, unified profiles and Flex, and kind of the stuff happening with data across the platform is also really exciting. So this feels like just a nice kind of the icing on the cake. I don't know if that's the right metaphor, but I'll work on it as we go. The pepperoni on the pizza. Also, maybe I'm going to step back. I didn't explain the pizza box reference. And Rachel, you mentioned pizza box sketches. Yep. Also. Maybe for context, for anybody who doesn't know, the earliest conception of Twilio happened in Sharpie on the back of a pizza box. And so we talk about it as like the way to really get started and kind of have that entrepreneurial builder spirit is embodied in the pizza box.
Definitely.
Cool. What else has Alpha worked on so far? I know this is the first time we're talking about it publicly, but I know the team's been hard at work already for a while.
Yeah. So our viewpoint is like, we feel very confident that generative AI is going to transform the way that companies communicate with their customers. But a lot of the challenges that we've seen and heard are, how do you keep that engagement really personalized and make the experience delightful? Like I'm sure folks on on this stream, can understand when you're talking with a company and you're talking with an AI agent, you might immediately just want to transfer to a human agent. So how do we make that experience feel really personalized and enjoyable that you actually want to continue to talk to the agent and they're actually helpful? And so our first few projects really explored how to leverage all of the data that our companies have about their customers, whether that's like modeled data, like transactional data, or interaction data, like website visits, et cetera, as well as unstructured data. The amount of data that folks have in their communication channels, like voice, SMS, email, right? There's so much data you can get about your communications with customers. So taking that structured and unstructured data and really creating like what we're calling kind of customer memory. So in order to create really personalized experiences that make sense for each individual customer, it's foundational that you have kind of like that view of your customer across your structured and unstructured data. And so we've kind of bundled that up in the idea of customer memory. And AI assistance really allows us to bring customer memory. It's a tool to really start playing around with customer memory, as well as a few other things. You'll see it. It's all really super awesome, and you'll see it in the demo. But AI assistants can really leverage all of these data sources in the form of customer memory and then talk to your customers in a really personalized way. So super excited to show you guys how that works. But I would say, majority is how can we leverage all this data and information to create really personalized and exciting experiences? Customer memory is kind of what we've worked on so far. We're showing it in AI assistance with a few other features. And so that's kind of where our alpha focus has been, but excited for a lot more to come too.
Awesome. This is a kind of a non sequitur, but I've been helping my mom clean out her storage locker. She has like a locker where she kind of, has kept stuff in the past. And this brings to mind the idea that we're creating so much data in the world in the same way that like we have so much stuff maybe. Yeah. And the hard part is not having the stuff. The hard part is like making sense of it and kind of deciding what's valuable. And so it's exciting to see this work, start to do that. There's only going to be more data in the world,
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, I think it's been a huge theme that we've heard across the AI and machine learning space is like your models and your outcomes and your products are only going to be as good as the information you give it, right? So like bad data in is going to be bad data out. And so I think that's a really important focus for us, and really important focus for like 5 to 10 years down the line. If AI is really going to be as big as we all think it's going to be, like that's going to be foundational to its success.
Yeah, for sure. So that's we thanks for that overview of kind of what you've been thinking about so far. I'm curious if you put on your futurist hat and think out on that 5 to 10 year time horizon, or maybe shorter. But what sort of things do you think Alpha might explore in the future? Do you have any big bets or thoughts about what's cool? And while you're answering this, chat, if you have things, what would you like to see Alpha explore in the future? Drop them in the chat while we talk.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's hear from the community. I think, continuing to explore this idea of customer memory is definitely on the forefront. I think otherwise, like 2 other areas that are super interesting, being Twilio, I think one is channels, right? Twilio has every, channel you can think of: voice, SMS, email, WhatsApp, etc. What are the new channels that are going to come in this AI world, right? Like we interact with businesses, directly through marketing emails, but also often indirectly now, right? We watch YouTube reviews that are not owned by the company, but by someone else. Is that a channel now that we need to think about how you can interact with your customer and consume that data to, create more personalized experiences? So I think new channels and how is AI going to impact channels is one area we really want to look into. And I would say the second is around APIs. Like what role are APIs going to have in the future? How important are they? How are they going to change? Can an agent potentially, or an AI assistant potentially do what an API does today in a different way? So like how are APIs going to change 5 to 10 years? Like, I don't think APIs are going away, but I think how we build them and how we interact with them might change. So I think that's kind of one of the other areas that we're interested in, and those are focus areas right now. But I can assure you that I'm sure there'll be more as we continue to research and get feedback from everybody in the community.
Yeah, for sure. I think those are both really interesting fronts. And like the idea that channels might change is so fascinating. How are we going to communicate in 5 and 10 and 20 years? Alex says robots. I think that's a channel in and of itself. We explored that a little last year at Signal. Do you have any plans with robots, Rachel?
No plans at this time, but there is some cool robot stuff. There's a cool assistant robots, and there's this whole metaverse thing that we have no idea what that's going to do. So there's just so much to be looked into.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. We'll keep those ideas coming, everybody. We love to hear it and see what you're interested in. And finally, Rachel, for you, I'm curious how, we hopefully have a lot of Twilio developers with us today. Obviously, that community is so important to us and foundational to what we do as a business. So how do you see Alpha and maybe AI assistants specifically making Twilio developers' lives better? And why should they pay attention?
Definitely. I mean, our developer community is so core to Twilio. And I think with the launch of Twilio Alpha, with the launch of AI assistants, we really want to lean into this community for that idea of feedback and input. And as much as we can research and try to figure out what's next for Twilio, what's next for customer engagement, what really matters is what our customers need and what our developers need. So we really want to work closely with developers. That's why we want to share our work early. We want to get comments. We want to get feedback. We want to figure out where we're missing core use cases or where functionality needs to improve. So we really want to lean into that developer community to shape the future of customer engagement together. Like we can't do this without our developers and our customers. And I just saw in the chat around like low code. I mean, I think that's super important to us too. Like I will say as a product manager, I'm decently technical, but I'm no coder. And we definitely want to get things like AI assistants out there to say, hey, if you're a developer, here's, how you can do this through the APIs, but also like there's a console, you can do this low code, play around and still be able to evaluate and give us feedback. So definitely leaning into both areas. But yeah, so we're just really hoping our community and our developer community can really be a part of our early innovation here.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. And yeah, I identify as a developer myself. I've written code in my career, but these days, like a lot of what I turn to are those low code tools. So you will definitely we haven't forgotten about you, and you're an important part of that our community and of this work. And you'll get to see actually in our demo, I think some ways that you can interact with AI assistants that aren't code based necessarily. Thank you so much, Rachel. That was an awesome intro and overview of Twilio Alpha, and I'm so excited to have been able to work with you on this project. Excited to do more of that in the future. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks.
What an incredible conversation. I feel so lucky to be a part of this team and to get to work with folks like this every day. If you want to be a part of this process, sign up for the dev preview for AI assistants. There's a link in the description, and we're so excited to have you be a part of helping us shape the future of Twilio's products.